What's up, guys? Jake Berlin here. Get ready because Avengers Infinity War is now just a few weeks away. The monster Marvel movie is now on the horizon, and we are so excited here at Apocalypse Movies in anticipation for the big, giant blockbuster of every Marvel character ever. We have decided to put an entire list of MCU movies ranked by a certain number together. Now, the way it works is we have put together our personal lists. We have brought them together by a point system. The point system works as follows. The first movie on our list gets 18 points because there are 18 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 18th movie gets 1 point. Everything in between kind of counteracts itself. We add that together. Highest points are at the top, low points at the bottom. This is not us saying that one movie is horrible and one movie is better than the most. This is what we got together with all of our lists combined. We wanted to do separate videos for you, kind of breaking them down, reacting, and kind of revisiting all of these movies because we have been through a monster journey of 10 years of Marvel movies. Now we're going to try and release 6 a week leading up, and that week of Infinity War we're going to release a number of different videos for the movie. We are so excited. We hope you enjoy these videos. And again, don't hate us for ranking these videos differently, but enjoy them at the same time.
The Incredible Hulk, 2008. That one went by me. I was still buzzing off of Iron Man and The Dark Knight, and that one completely went over my. I'd completely missed it. A big part of that was because we just got the Eric Bana version maybe 5 years before, which was not good at all. And yeah, I did not know that there was any MCU connection to this until maybe about a year or so later, watching it on television and seeing the post-credit scene, the Tony Stark post-credit scene, and that's when I finally took a look at it and said, that's not that bad. It's not that bad. So, looking back at it, it's not that bad, but it's not great.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of The Incredible Hulk from 2008 is that it was a different actor playing it than Mark Ruffalo right now. It's Edward Norton, who's a great actor, and you wouldn't think of him as the Hulk, but when you watch the movie, I personally think he plays Bruce Banner very well. I like how he's playing like the scientific elements and the very serious elements and trying to hold his anger back. Like, I thought he played all of that very well and brought something different than we've ever seen before with the Incredible Hulk character. I love Mark Ruffalo, but kind of me really wishes in some alternate universe that it was Edward Norton still playing the Hulk. But don't get me wrong, I'm happy with where we are.
Edward Norton as Bruce Banner is an interesting choice, to say that. It's not my first choice. I definitely am surprised by the fact that Marvel kind of went with him. But again, this is before the MCU kind of really went going. Out of the 3 actors, Eric Bana, Edward Norton, and Mark Ruffalo, he's definitely the second choice. I think Eric Bana is a completely out of left field choice for me. He did a good job. He's just typically not that kind of brooding force you would see. But again, Bruce Banner is a scientist. And so in a way it made sense, especially since this movie had a lot of science involved in it. I would have liked to have seen him kind of continue on in the character, but after seeing Mark Ruffalo in the role, I can't see anybody else as the Hulk. And so I'm glad we got to see it once, but again, I think that for future movies and kind of a universe type feel, Mark Ruffalo is the right choice.
Alpha team, let him have all of it.
So William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. We saw them in Civil War, which was a great bring back. You wouldn't think they would bring back some of the actors from that movie. A lot of people forget this movie's in the MCU in the first place. I gotta remind people constantly. But William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross, I thought that was a great casting. He's so intimidating in what he does, and it's funny because he's hunting the Hulk. He's hunting the Hulk, and he's not even afraid of him. In a way, like he's not afraid to go after him with his military forces, and I thought he played that so well.
I actually enjoyed him a lot. He was definitely one of the better parts of that movie, and when he came back for Civil War, I think it was a good and needed way to connect that movie, because otherwise I think it kind of just stayed as like it's part of the universe, but it really kind of always felt like it wasn't.
Another great villain in the movie was Tim Roth as the Abomination. I love this character. I want to see the Abomination back in the MCU somehow. I think that's a tool in Marvel's toolbox that they just have sitting there that'll be great to use in the future. And even before he becomes Abomination, when he goes and tries to fight the Hulk, when he's just hyped up and as a human, but he's just advanced and elevated, that was incredible. And he, of course, he gets smashed against the tree or something like that, and he gets brutally beaten. But I just thought overall Tim Roth was a great assassin character who's going to go after the Hulk without any fear at all physically.
Yeah, Tim Roth is a great actor. He's a Tarantino guy. So I've been a fan of Tim Roth for a long time. He should, first of all, just stick with the British accent. He's one of those guys, he doesn't do a great American accent in movies when I see him try to do it. As great as an actor as he is. And he's usually pretty good at delivering great Tarantino dialogue, but boy, in this movie I just didn't like his portrayal of this version.
The action in this movie is actually pretty cool. They use the Hulk in some pretty cool ways. The college scene where they're on campus and you see Tim Roth's character kind of charging at him as he first has the serum in him, and the Hulk is kind of being trapped by these sound waves. It's some pretty cool action in there. As far as the MCU goes, obviously it's a little smaller. They've definitely stepped their game up since then, but in the early stages, again, using the Hulk, it was very cool because it was the very beginning. But as you think of the Hulk now, you think of something much more brooding, bigger. And so in the grand scheme of things, it was much smaller.
The action's pretty good by the time you get to the end. There's not a whole lot in it. Like I said, most of the movie is just him communicating with another guy by email and then communicating with other people and just him on the run, which is what a lot of Bruce Banner was. We saw that in the old TV series. So it's kind of one of those things where, again, you just need another Hulk monster for him to fight, and that's really where you get to what everyone wants to see in this movie is Hulk versus another thing that he can fight. Not quite enough Hulk in this movie. I think that's a legitimate complaint.
I think there was enough Hulk. It was pretty even.
So one thing I wish could have been different in this movie is I think they could have had more Hulk in it. And I understand maybe because of budgetary constraints or whatever, but I don't think, and it wasn't Disney at the time, but when you're making a superhero movie, you want to put it all out there, put it all on the table, and I think we could have just gotten more Hulk. You don't see a lot of him when the movie starts, and when the first time you see him, he's in the shadows, and it's really difficult because if the Hulk doesn't have somebody like the Abomination to fight, what are you going to have him doing? Anything you throw at him, he's going to destroy, even if it's a tank. So I understand why you can't have a lot of Hulk on screen, but I just wish they would have found a way to actually have the green monster on screen. That's what we come to the theater to see.
Number 18 on this list. I feel bad saying that this probably should be last, because I think just everything else has been so much better. It's almost unfair because, again, they were still trying to figure it out. This is only the second movie in this endeavor that they've taken on, and in this larger narrative that they've taken on. So it's not bad. I don't think any of the movies on the list are bad. There's probably a couple that I'd watch this movie over probably a couple that we have ranked a little bit higher. But at the same time, again, this was something, it was still early, and all the faults that I had this movie last on my list, and a lot of it is because some of the faults, and some of them are nitpicks, but some of the negatives I had really kind of outweigh some of the good in this movie. So I think 18 is probably the right place for this movie on this list.
I believe so. I believe that's what I ranked my personal as number 18. But I think just because it's so disconnected, it seems like, from the lineup of MCU movies, that it does deserve to be in the spot it is.